Thank you. Our nation is currently facing a myriad of crises: record-breaking high inflation, runaway Washington spending, and an open southern border that is allowing an out-of-control number of illegal aliens and illegal and dangerous drugs flow into our borders. The CDC recently announced that more than 107,000 Americans died of drug overdoses last year. Of those deaths, nearly two-thirds of fatal overdoses were caused by fentanyl or another synthetic opioid. That is a 23% increase from 2020. Fentanyl, as Ranking Member Higgins has already noted, is now the leading cause of death of Americans from the ages of 18 to 45. And it may be as much fentanyl poisoning as anything else. That's an incredible statistic. That's a heartbreaking statistic. And that fentanyl is coming across our southern border. In my home state of Georgia, between 2012 and 2019, fentanyl overdoses claimed the lives of nearly 1,250 individuals. Last year alone, Customs and Border Protection in 8 ports of entry, just 8 alone, seized 588 pounds of fentanyl coming across the border. That's enough to kill over 133 million people, to kill all the residents of Georgia over 12 times over. So for each of you, Mr. Kagan, I'll start with you. Yes or no, do you believe border security is related directly to national security?
HSI is there to investigate south of the border.
Just yes or no would be fine, sir.
Say it again, repeat the question.
Do you believe that border security is related directly to national security?
It's one of the factors of national security. Sir.
Okay, all right. Between our ports of entry, do you think we have a secure border? Yes or no is fine.
HSI is not the one to answer the question as it pertains to.
So you don't know?
The physical border.
So you don't know?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Mr. Flores, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Do you believe that border security is related directly to national security?
Congressman, thank you for the question. I do believe they both are important and they are related, yes.
Okay, great. So between our ports of entry, do you believe we have a secure southern border?
I believe the men and women of the U.S. Border Patrol and CBP as a whole, collectively, we are doing our best.
I know you're doing the best job you can. That's not my question. My question is, do we have a secure southern border between our ports of entry?
From a responsible for our United States ports of entry, from a field operations perspective, from a U.S. Border Patrol perspective, probably better answered by them. But again, with the resources that the U.S. Border Patrol has between the ports of entry.
Then, Mr. Sok, I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you believe that border security is related directly to national security?
Sir, yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Do you believe we have a secure southern border between our ports of entry?
I do. I believe we have vulnerabilities.
Thank you. All right, that's fine. All right, now, Mr. Flores, you testified that last year that 11,200 pounds of fentanyl was seized between both ports of entry and between ports of entry, correct? All right. Now, we had 400,000 gotaways, we think, that people that were not caught at the southern border that came into the United States, possibly as many as 800,000. And many of them were carrying backpacks. So what is the average amount of a fentanyl seizure? I mean, from 11,200 pounds on an annual basis, what's the average amount that border protection seizes?
Congressman, thank you for the question. Just average, you mean per seizure?
Per seizure, I'm sorry, yes, per seizure.
So that would vary depending on the type of, or the mode it was being transported or smuggled. That could be in a tractor trailer.
I get that. What is the average amount per seizure that you normally, that you would see?
So we could see anywhere from a kilo to potentially 15 kilos.
Okay, 15 kilos, about 30 pounds, anywhere from a couple of pounds to 30 pounds, easily carried by an individual. All right. So do you know, is it different whether it's between a port of entry or between port of entries?
Typically, in between the ports of entry, the seizures that I'm aware of have been smaller amounts. if they're hidden in a conveyance, a commercial conveyance or some type of passenger vehicle, those tend to be larger amounts.
Okay, then, and when you look at potentially 400,000 gotaways, and you're looking at maybe 2 pounds,
The gentleman's times
potentially
has
a-
expired.
that's potentially a tremendous amount that we're not even seeing. So I don't think there's a correlation between what you get at a port of entry and what you get between ports of entry, because we don't have that information, and we can't
Gentleman's
really say
time
that.
has
Thank you, and
expired.
I yield.